Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, I'm going to go over my favorite IntelliJ tips and tricks. So let's begin. Number one, split view. So if you want to take a look at two files at the same time, what you can do is press Control E, and that'll bring up this menu here. Go ahead and find the other file that you also want to take a look at. So for example, here I'm looking at bank, but if I also want to take a look at this account class, what I can do is I can click on this little window here on the right, and it'll split it vertically, just like this. Now, if you want to split it horizontally, what you do is you drag the tab until it highlights like a fourth of the screen, and then you let go and it splits it horizontally. Number two, jumping to definitions. So if you want to see the definition for a method, simply hold down Control and click on where it's being called, and that'll send you straight to that method's definition. Now this also works with constructors as well, since constructors are technically methods. So here, I have this constructor called account that's being used here. And what I do is I simply hold down Control and then I click on account, and that sends me straight to the constructor definition. Number three, highlight the open file. So I have a file here called bank, and I'm trying to find out where exactly in the project tree it is located. Now, sure, I can manually look for it by opening up the folders, but that would take me forever, especially if there are many different nested folders and many different files. So what you can do is simply click on this little scope button and it'll show you exactly where in the project tree it is located. Number four, changing the Java version. To easily change the Java version, simply press Shift, Control, Alt, and S, and that'll bring up the project structure settings. Now to change the Java version, you simply click here, and then you can choose whatever versions you have available, or if you need to download a new one, simply click here where it says Download JDK, and select whatever version you want. And then from there, you can go ahead and download it, and then you'd select it from the menu, click Apply, and then OK. Number five, changing the appearance theme. Press Ctrl Alt S to bring up the settings menu, and then click on where it says appearance and behavior, then appearance, and then here where it says theme, go ahead and select the theme that you like. Now, if you don't like any of these, what you can do is click on where it says get more themes, and then install one that you do like. There are many other different ones here that are really cool. Number six, stopping one-line methods. So if you're anything like me, you hate when IntelliJ automatically folds your methods into one line, like this. To stop this, press Ctrl Alt S to bring up the settings menu, then click Editor, General, and then Code Folding. Right there, go to the section that says Java, and right next to it, it'll say one-line methods. Go ahead and uncheck that, click Apply, and then OK. And you'll see that IntelliJ will no longer automatically fold methods into one line. Number seven, if you ever get this error that says could not find or load main class followed by the name of another class, that pretty much means that the class that has the main method has not been selected here in the configurations. So for example, here I have a class called main, and that is the one that has my main method. So that is the class that should be selected here in the configurations. So go to Edit Configurations, and then right here, go ahead and select the appropriate class that contains the main method. In this case, it's the main class. So I select that, click Apply, then OK. And then when I run it, you'll see that the application starts working again. Number eight, line numbers. Line numbers are very important when it comes to programming. If for whatever reason you do not see them here in IntelliJ, simply right-click and then click on Show Line Numbers. Number nine, search. There are three types of search functions that I like to use. The first one is Control F. Now this one searches for a keyword within the file that's currently open. The second function that I like to use is Control Shift F, and this one searches throughout the entire project. And the third search function is if you press Shift twice, it brings up a menu like this, and this one helps you find specific files. Number 10, the system.out.println shortcut. So we all know that typing system.out.println can get annoying after a while. So the shortcut for this is simply typing S out and then pressing the tab key, and it'll complete the whole thing for you. Number 11, enabling the system menu. So if for whatever reason you don't see the menu appear, simply press Control Shift A. That'll bring up this menu here. And then under Actions, it should say View, Appearance, Main Menu. Just go ahead and turn that on, and you'll get your menu back. Number 12, opening files. So if you right click on a file and then go to Open In, there's three different ways you can open a file. So one is terminal. So if you have like an executable file or you want to run that file alongside a different program, then you could do so here from the command line. Or again, if you right click and then go to Open In, you could also click on File Path. That'll show you all the folders that lead up to the file. Okay. But the one that I use the most is if you right click, again, go to Open In, then Explorer, then this will show you the files from this window, which a lot of us are a lot more familiar with. Now, this is good because you can easily email the files, or you can just right click on them, look at the properties, all sorts of stuff. Number 13, compare with clipboard. So let's say you're online and you find some code and you want to compare it with the code you have in IntelliJ. Simply copy that code, go back to IntelliJ, right click on the file you want to compare it to, then go to where it says compare with clipboard, and then here, start off where it says side-by-side viewer. This is probably the best in my opinion. The code here on the right side is the code that you originally had in IntelliJ. The code here on the left side is the code that you copied from the internet. Again, up here you have a couple of options. So you could do the side-by-side viewer, or you could do the unified viewer, which merges both sets of code together. You could also choose to trim white spaces along some other stuff, and you could also highlight different things here to help you better compare and contrast both sets of code. Number 14, going back to where you left off. You ever been navigating through a bunch of different files only to forget exactly where you were and what you were working on? Well, what you could do is hold down Control Alt, and then if you press the left arrow key, that'll take you to where your cursor was previously. Now, if you press the right arrow key, that'll move forward. So you could press left to go back or right to move forward. Number 15, checking the IntelliJ version. Is your IntelliJ not working properly? Is it not compatible with certain things? Maybe you want to compare it to the version your coworker has. Well, to check your version, go to Help and then About, and then it'll show you your current IntelliJ version. Number 16, repairing IntelliJ. So if your IntelliJ is having maybe unresolved code issues or corrupted caches, maybe just overall unexpected behavior, what you could do is go to File and then Repair IDE. Then you might have to click here on the Notifications tab, and you'll see that it'll go through 6 different steps to try to correct and fix everything. So the first one here is rescan project indexes. Go ahead and click on that. If that doesn't work, you can try step 2. Click here where it says reopen project. If that doesn't work, you could try step 3, delete package search project caches. If that also doesn't work, you could try step 4, delete package search global caches. If that doesn't work, you could try step 5, reindex project. And then finally, step 6, invalidate caches and restart. Number 17, copying the path. So when you open a file, you can right-click on the tab and then go to where it says Copy Path slash Reference. Here, it'll give you some additional options such as absolute path, file name, path from content root, path from source root. But in this example, I'm just going to click on where it says absolute path, and then I'll go ahead and open up something like Notepad and paste it. So you can see that the full path is on there. You can go ahead and email this to somebody or send it through chat if they need to know exactly where that file is. Number 18, surrounding with code. So if you select some code and then press Ctrl-Alt-T, you'll see that it gives you all these options. Now you can surround the code that you highlighted with things like an if statement, or you could also choose from, things like for to create a for loop, or you can also do try and catch for exception handling, or you could also choose runnable if you are working with multi-threading, or you can also choose one of the options here for comments as well. Number 19, generating code. So if you press Alt and then the Insert button, it'll give you all these options here to generate things like a constructor, getter, setter, toString, and a bunch of other stuff. So for example, if I click on getter, you'll see that I have two variables here. I have owner, but I already have a getter method for that owner variable. And it's smart enough to know that. That's why it highlights balance, because I don't have a getter method for that. So if we click OK, it will generate a getter method for that balance variable. And it's smart enough to help you out with those other options as well. Number 20, extending selection. So if you don't want to use your mouse to highlight certain things, what you could do is simply press Control and then W, and that'll start highlighting things and expanding its way out. So the more you press W, the more it'll start highlighting. Number 21, changing the font size. So to change the font size, you press Control-Alt-S to bring up the settings menu. Now, if you don't see the font option here on the left side, you can search for it here in the search box by typing in font. And then if you click on the font option, it should show you a menu that looks like this. Now here you can change the size to whatever you want. The default is usually somewhere around 12 or 13. Now, if we make this bigger, let's say like 24, you'll see that here on the right side, it gives you a preview of what that size font will look like. Now, if you're happy with that, you can go ahead and click Apply, and you'll see that the font is now bigger. Number 22, reformatting code. So you'll see that in this method here, the spacing and indentation is just really messed up. So instead of going and manually changing everything, what you can do is just simply press Control, Alt, and L, and it'll fix all the spacing and indentation for you. Number 23, tool windows. If you hover your mouse all the way down here, you'll get a complete list of all the different tool windows that you can get. Let's go through all of them real quick. So the first one here called project will show you the project structure. If you click here on this one called bookmarks, it'll give you a list of all the bookmarks that you added to your code. To add a bookmark, just right click and then click on add bookmark. And if you click on any of these, it'll take you straight to that bookmark. This one here called structure will give you the structure for the class that you're currently on. It'll show things like methods and fields. This one here called notifications will show you things like suggestions, events, errors, anything like that. Down here you'll see a couple of more bookmarks. You'll see that this one here is version control. This is for things like get. This one here is to do. This is very similar to bookmarks. You simply add the text to do in a comment and it'll show up here in this list. This one here called problems will show you any exceptions or any issues related to your project. This one here called terminal allows you to run commands here. This one here called services. This is for adding things to control other components like databases and things like that. This one down here is called build, and this is for things like Maven or Gradle if you're pulling down dependencies. Any errors or statuses will show up right here. Number 24, showing members for classes. So if we look here on the left side, we know that this is the project structure, and we can see things like folders and, more importantly, these classes. But if you go to the gear, then tree appearance, and then show members, that will not only show you the name of the class, but also all the methods that are inside of that class and all the fields. And if you look closely, it also tells you the input for the method as well as the return type. And then for the fields, it'll tell you the type that those fields are. Number 25, showing visibility icons under the project structure. So classes, methods, and fields can either be private, public, or protected. So instead of going through a class to see this information, what you can do is if you go here on the left side, click on the gear, then tree appearance, and then check the show visibility icons option, you'll see that here in the project structure, you can see whether a class, method, or field is public, private, or protected. If you see a green open lock, that means it's public. If you see a closed red lock, that means it's private. And if you see a key, that means it is protected. If you don't see anything, like a circle here, that means that nothing has been defined. But by default, it is public. Number 26, opening a file with a single click. So we all know that you have to double click on the file in order to open it. But if you want to change this, you could go to the gear and then click on where it says open files with single click. You'll see that as soon as you click on a file just once, it opens that file. Number 27, creating a duplicate line of code. So if you want to copy and paste a line of code very quickly, just simply place the cursor at the beginning and press Control D, and that'll copy the entire line and paste it right below it. All right, those were some of my favorite IntelliJ tips and tricks. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.